I'm going to cook so many pastries.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Zock Gaming Podcast. This is episode 1, our first episode. I am Jay Dubious of Dubious Gaming. Joining me is Donovan of No Clip Gaming.
Hello.
And Josh of Missouri.
That's right, the whole state. I'm representing it.
Thanks for listening. This is our first podcast. I'm super excited to finally be doing this. And we're going to be starting off every single episode with the What Have We Been Playing segment. And starting us off will be Josh. What have you been playing lately?
Well, I just picked up Antechamber, which is a pretty interesting take on a sort of first-person puzzle game a la Portal.
Oh man! Oh, that game is so good! Oh, I am giving you golf claps, my friend. Antechamber is the best.
It's pretty fantastic so far. I've only put in about an hour into it, but it's definitely held my interest.
Oh yeah, definitely explore, dude. Go backwards. Those purple blocks, you'll see what I mean. That game's amazing. It's so good.
And for a bit of a retro thing, me and some other buddies have started to play the original StarCraft 1 again. It's always a great blast from the past.
Dude, carriers. So many carriers.
Dark Plague!
When in doubt, just DT them, dude. Who cares? Whatever. Nobody buys detection. What are you talking about? Like,
Zerg for life, baby.
Oh man, that's dirty. That's rough. Good stuff.
That pretty much covers what I've been doing.
Word, what have you been up to, Donovan?
Well, for me lately, I've been just waiting, and finally the Krieg DLC came out for Borderlands 2, and I can't put it down. It's so much fun it should be illegal. That's literally just what it is.
From what I've read, it's been getting really good reviews.
Well, they kind of explained it when they did a first day commentary on IGN with some of the Gearbox employees about when they were playing it, showing him off and stuff. And they've been working on him for about a year. But the reason they slotted him to be the last DLC character is pretty much all of his mechanics and all 3 of his trees. He's really counterintuitive to what most people learn while playing Borderlands. Like for example, I'm doing his first tree, the Mania tree, his blue tree or whatever. And the entire tree is built around you taking health damage. So, the first floor of the tree can give you, ridiculously huge increased maximum health and increase your shield recharge delay. It's absolutely ridiculous. He seriously does so much damage. It's just...
And your damage goes up the lower your health is, then I take it.
Damage goes up, all sorts of things, man. It's just so ridiculous. Everything about it. Your cooldown goes down. Because that's the thing is... His whole action thing is he takes out just a ridiculous axe with a buzzsaw on the end of it or some shit. It's absurd, dude. It's a murder tool. No joke.
Does he play a little like Brick from the first game?
Kind of. It's closer to 0, I'd say. But it gives you 500% bonus melee damage. And also, also whenever you kill anybody with it, you instantly get a full health refill. Because
Jesus Christ.
There's no health regeneration in any of his trees. None.
Damn. So it sounds like he's mostly melee based, or what's the range? What's his average range?
Well, see, he really likes shotguns and melee, but the problem with it is it's a 2-minute cooldown on his action, and that's what I like about the tree I'm in is taking health damage will reduce it, and there's even a perk in the tree. I think it's fantastic. It's the greatest thing, and he has such good dialogue, and he even has dialogue that goes with the perk, but it makes it so whenever you get shot, your cooldown increases, right? It's great, but whenever you take health damage, the bonus is doubled, but it turns friendly fire on.
Odd.
How would that work with someone like Maya who can shoot Healy bullets?
I'm pretty
and
sure
the game breaks.
Yeah, the game breaks. Divides by 0 nothing. I'm pretty sure it's just would be the regular healing values on that, but it would probably lower your cooldown. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, it's such a ridiculous concept, and it's so funny because it starts at 50% friendly fire, and it'll go down, because if you think about it, holy crap, do player characters do just ridiculous amounts of damage. You have to have the reduction, but all of the trees have something like that. One of his other trees, right, which I'm probably going to respec and play once I hit level 60 with him, but it's all built around you being on fire.
What?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. That's the whole thing. Is your elemental attacks will set enemies on fire, and there's like a perk that makes it so fire will be super effective versus whatever the type is. So like if it's versus somebody with a shield, it'll hit them as electrical, or if it's a robot, it'll be corrosive. But it'll still be like a fire weapon that makes it so like he'll take reduced damage when on fire and faster reload and better crits, just things like that. It's just he's so much fun, dude. I can't even describe it. Like I swear I could sell him. It's just so ridiculous.
How much was that DLC pack?
It was $10. I was kind of bummed. I was hoping it was going to be in the season pass, but the Mechromancer.
I heard a lot of gripes about that.
Yeah, I mean the Mechromancer wasn't either. And to be fair, them skinning me for $20 for 2 other characters, it could be worse considering how much fun I've had with them. Because I love the Mechromancer too. I generally like playing really tanky characters, and the Mechromancer's tank tree is absolutely hilarious because. When Robot kills people, it counts for your second win, so you can give him like a copy of your shield, and he can like revive you, and just all sorts of shenanigans. I've had lots of fun with the DLC characters. I think the season pass was a great deal too, and I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys saw, they actually announced what the final DLC for the season pass is. It's Tiny Tina's holding like a Dungeons and Dragons game. It's a single.
Oh yeah, it's a Tiny Tina expansion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a single player DLC. You play as like a D&D character for one of the original Vault Hunters in like this game they're playing with Tiny Tina. It looks so ridiculous. It's gonna be great. I love Borderlands 2.
They seem to have been doing a really good job with Borderlands 2 and keeping the game alive way after its release. I mean, I got it about a month after it came out, and honestly, I don't think I picked it up even once in 2013.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like Gearbox really hit their stride with the last expansion for the first game, General Knox's.
Yeah.
Which was that one. I mean, the other 2 expansions for the first game were like, that's a little meh. But General Knox was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
That's the only one I bought, and that was fucking
really
great.
The only one you should buy. I played through all of them. The Underdome was terrible, and the zombie thing was just kind of bland.
My cousin really dug the Claptrap expansion they had.
Oh, I forgot about that one. It was
forgettable. I didn't actually
play this crime.
I mean, I didn't remember it now, right? But I mean, really...
Yeah, but they really just hit their stride with General Knox, found their sense of humor and what the tone of the game they want to set, which is they really captured well with Borderlands 2, and then it seems they've been doing it with the subsequent DLC.
I mean, all of them have been really good, like Pirate Scarlet's Booty or whatever it was, that was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't stellar, but it was still pretty good, but I mean... The last DLC was absolutely fantastic. That's what really kind of sold me on the season pass. My roommates had it, and they, got in the first 2, and they were like fun, and like lots of good missions, but nothing like really intense. But it's just, man, the stuff they've been doing lately is fantastic. I love it so much. It's great, and it's kind of funny, especially considering how badly their other projects have been doing. Cough, cough. Colonial Marines. Cough, cough.
Was that Gearbox too? Holy crap!
Yeah, dude, they're getting sued too. Did you see the class action lawsuit?
I did see. I read a little bit about it.
What? Just making a terrible game.
The preview footage didn't match what actually it was like in the game, but I mean, at the bottom they say usually that like this is tentative.
Yeah, this is not game. Please do not sue.
Yeah, so I mean, did they have a disclaimer? Because if they didn't, then the class action lawsuit seems like a huge waste of money for everyone.
I have the nagging suspicion they didn't, or it probably wouldn't have been filed. To be fair, when I got the email asking me if I wanted to file, I kind of just deleted it.
That's like suing a movie company because some of the clips from the trailer weren't in the actual movie.
I ate too much McDonald's. I'm gonna sue Ronald himself. Like, it's just...
I think we should sue Tim Burton for making shitty remakes.
I don't know, man.
Maybe not sue him, just get him some sort of restraining order against making movies.
Yeah, there should be some kind of status that's like sex offender, but for people who make shit fucking remakes.
Yeah.
Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll. Granted, they're not remakes, they're just horrible game adaptations.
That's fair, man.
So have you been playing anything else, Donovan?
Oh, God. Not really, to be completely honest. I've just been stuck in Creek, man. It's intense.
Sounds good. So I guess that leaves me. I've been up to a couple games lately. I've been pretty diverse. I've been playing some retro stuff and some other stuff. I guess the 3 main games I've been playing, though, I've been playing Alteller Totri, The Adventure of Ireland for the PS Vita, which is probably the next biggest JRPG release after Persona 4 came out for the Vita, and all I can really say is it's definitely not Persona 4. Persona 4 was far better. I saw it got around like a 7-ish in most reviews, and I'd agree with that. It's pretty good. It has a similar day system where you're moving through the days and you're supposed to get all this stuff done within the 3-year period. And it's kind of cool. You can pick it up and put it down pretty easily, but I don't know. I haven't really gotten super duper into it, even though I've dived about 7 hours in.
Does it have your pretty standard turn-based combat system, or does it have a twist on that?
Yeah, dude, same as like anything else. Like it's like Final Fantasy VI all over again.
Just bog standard.
Fight, skill, item.
Well, that's not too bad, you know. It got popular for a reason. I've always kind of preferred that kind of combat system in RPGs anyway. Most action RPGs tend to have really, really shallow combat systems, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like the Tales of series, I've never been a fan of.
Not a fan of the Tales of series. I bought the one for the Xbox 360 and I got about 4 hours in and I couldn't take it anymore. It was terrible.
See, everybody I knew, that was pretty much what they said, so I can't honestly say I ever played it. I've never really motivated to.
You know what did have a good turn-based system though was that Chopin one for the Xbox 360.
Eternal Sonata.
Yeah, that actually had quite a good battle system. I thought it was all based on like whether your character was in the shadow or in the light, and you would perform different magic abilities based on that.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about that game, and granted, it was really early in the 360's lifespan when it came out, but I've heard some real mixed reviews about that one.
I thought it was good up until I got to this whole like pirate area, and then every fucking part of the level looks exactly the same, so I pretty much just quit because I was just lost for like 3 hours and I just got bored with it.
That's good game design.
Right?
Yeah. And then I've also recently been playing a little bit of World of Warcraft.
Oh no! Why do you do it to yourself?
I went ahead.
I thought we had
Donovan.
that intervention for a reason.
Oh no!
I bought Pandaria. It's very much like Cataclysm. I've been enjoying myself. I've gotten about 6 hours and it's been fun.
Is the Pokemon battling super kawaii desu?
I haven't I haven't dug into that yet. I'm planning to check that out near level 90 probably once I do all the quests and stuff.
Okay.
You started your Farmville? Apparently
I haven't
grow rocks.
Can you? I haven't checked out any of those features yet.
A friend of mine still plays World of Warcraft pretty intensely. He mentioned, there's some farming system where you can grow crafting materials, and you can like any of them. So yeah, you can apparently grow ore.
A rock.
Yeah, like that's just ridiculous.
Dude, what are you talking about? I have gold flowers in front of my house for days, dude, all the time. I don't even mind.
It really sucks when it's early and I go check the mail and I stub my toe on a silver plant.
Yeah, dude, it's the worst.
First world problems.
Seriously,
And
though,
then
man, that's bad.
what?
That's no good, man. I don't agree with WoW's decisions lately. I feel like I don't think this whole repetitive expansion
their
system,
subscription rate is reflecting that too. Actually,
yeah, it's dropping like a rock.
I understand it from a business point of view. The more sort of streamlined they make it, the easier it is to get people into it. Because especially if you have an MMO as old as it is, getting new people getting into it might be kind of intimidated by the sheer amount of content that's there. So if they kind of streamline some things, it might help, new subscribers.
I'll tell you what, too. Graphically, you mentioned it is old. It's starting to look pretty dated, to tell you the truth.
I mean, the graphics are never really all that great to begin with, but at least they stuck with a coherent style. And style usually ages better than just going for realism, something like EverQuest 2 did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
EverQuest 2 looks terrible now.
Conceptually, Azeroth is flawless. I mean, in a pretty serious way.
And yeah, they really hit their stride, and their the Warcraft series has had a pretty consistent visual theme that they've been good at keeping up with.
It's just these repetitive expansions, man. Like I feel like if they really want to compete with the MMOs that are still pulling people, referencing.
They got to go free to play.
Yeah, I mean, that would help a lot. I mean, it's only free to play to 20, right? I
believe so, yeah. They have like an unlimited trial, I think is what they call it, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the game doesn't even really start.
Starter edition.
Like, the game doesn't even start until 20, if you really think about it. Like, think about the first time you ever made a character in World of Warcraft. You didn't feel like you were doing anything until, you got your first mount. Like, oh my god, you can travel around.
You actually unlock some abilities, and you're not just sitting there, one.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, to try to think that they can, hook new subscribers and keep people on with,
with Kung Fu Panda themed shit.
Like the worst part of the game, just by dressing it up a little bit more, it's not going to work. They have to adapt to the market. Like, it's just, they're hanging themselves.
It's almost
when we keep hearing about Titan.
What are they going to do? I mean, what does World of Warcraft mean for a potential Warcraft 4 if they keep on with that? Are they even going to make a Warcraft 4 anytime soon? Because it might be a direct competitor to StarCraft 2.
It'd be after the final StarCraft 3 or 2 expansion comes out. I have a feeling that we might actually see a true Warcraft 4.
That would be amazing. Oh my god, I would freak out.
Yeah, I love that idea. I would. That's a day one buy.
Yeah,
the question is, would what's been happening in the MMO stay canon? If you have characters that are killing gods and maybe even the Titan, if that's figure that'd be kind of the
multiverse
end game thing.
Multiverse problem solved.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's an easy cop out, which is what they might do, but you never know. Blizzard does kind of like their lore and try to keep things coherent. At least they used to.
They usually do a pretty decent job.
Yeah, they always have.
So.
All right, and then the last game I've been playing recently, and I was just over at my cousin's house the other day, and I just wanted to show him this game. He's not a big racing game fan, but it's Forza Horizon. And I've beaten it. I put a lot of time into playing it as soon as I got it, and recently I put it in, and it alerted me that there was a new DLC pack to people who have already beaten the game, and it's completely free. So what's there not to love about that?
Yeah, dude, free DLC. That's fantastic.
So you get 1,000 challenges and 2 new vehicles. Which, at first I started doing it, and I was like, man, this is pretty dope. Like, this is putting new life into a game that I don't really play a whole lot anymore. And then I realized that the only way to get any of the achievements in it are by buying every DLC pack for the game.
Like all the car packs?
Every fucking car pack in the game is the only way to get all the DLC.
You want this? Like, it's terrible. That's
that is one hell of a way to dangle a carrot in front of you.
Is it? I was just offended by that. I was like, what? What are they thinking?
I would be so furious. I would definitely...
It's like a drug dealer offering you the first hit for free.
Exactly. It's a digital hit of DLC.
A digital hit of achievement. It's just like, look at all these achievements you could have if you just give it.
And the funny thing is it's a 250 point DLC pack or Microsoft achievement point or whatever. And yeah, you can get the first 10 for free, so you do get that little first hit of the crack or whatever. And then you go through, and it's like there's achievements for certain automakers or things like there's the Ford achievement point, which is 20 achievement points, the Nissan achievement point, the cars that cost over $1 million that you're never going to get that anyways because you have to play the game so much to get enough money to buy them. I don't know. It's just, I think it's the most despicable form of DLC I've ever seen in my life, to tell you the truth.
It's pretty brutal, dude.
Better or worse than day one DLC?
You mean on disc DLC?
Oh yeah, on disc. Oh, that one. Ugh. Oof. That pisses me off.
I don't know, man. Like I said, this is like an evil drug dealer trying to sell you this fucking DLC pack. You know what I mean?
It is the best. Yeah, that's a great comparison for it. Like, brutal.
It's fun while it lasts.
I always hated in those racing games. They put the DLC cars in your lineup and just have a little tag on them that says, you can't choose this yet.
Yeah, just like a
totally
padlock or some shit.
Yeah, so you still have to scroll through it and it's just staring you in the face.
Laughing. Just
haunting you.
Sitting there in its smoke jacket. Just laughing.
Like that. Like all those cool kids in high school.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man.
Bastards.
Yeah, right? It's bad marketing. It just makes them look bad, too. But whatever. Hey, money, dude. Money. Right? EA logic. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody likes money. Give it all to us. We might make a game.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll get around to it one day, you know. It's
it's on the to-do list.
We have a very full schedule of Scrooge McDucking in our gold baths.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of all that, did you see there's a new SimCity DLC coming out soon?
Does it make the game playable?
Nope. It basically allows you to play Roller Coaster Tycoon using the SimCity 3 engine, pretty much. Like, you can, like, build a theme park in your city, but your city's still so small you can't do fucking anything.
Yeah, it's like you're developing a city block. That's not Sim City, that's Sim Neighborhood. Sim underpaid city architect.
You know, it's actually kind of funny. I'm a huge fan of the Roller Coaster Tycoon series. And there's this game on Greenlight right now. I can't remember what the name is, like 100%. I want to say it's like a theme park designer or something like that. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But like the whole pitch of the game, right, is you don't just design roller coasters, you design like everything. You design flat rides, you know, your own teacup rides, your own food booths, like everything like that.
That's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Spore style way of building, like your buildings and stuff, possibly. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, there's a whole Kickstarter for it and everything, too. I'm actually really interested to see where it goes. It looks like a modern version of Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I think that's fantastic. I'm looking at my copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 right now, just drooling.
I never really got into the Roller Coaster Tycoon series. I usually would just build catapults and call it a day.
That's good, just, you know, a roller coaster that shoots straight into the car line. I actually saw...
Oh yeah, you know, you try to get it to land like in the middle of your theme park or something. Yeah, I mean that was fun to me.
Oh, there was a great one I saw on Reddit of a guy who had a like perfectly normal, awesome, perfect, like 100% approval rating theme park, right? Except there was one ride in the back of the park called Mr. Bones' Fast Ride, yeah. And the ride, it was one of those like slow little buggy rides, yeah. It was literally just track back and forth in a grid through the entire length of the map, top and bottom underground. So like in real time, it was something like a 45-minute ride, yeah. But in game time, it was like 7 fucking years. Was the ride length? And it was just like, oh my god, are you kidding me? And it just has like entertainers in the queue line, and everyone's like, "What? This ride takes a really long time." It's just like
It's the world's first generational theme park.
yeah, it was just amazing. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
You could have 2 college degrees during the duration of the ride.
Have classes.
You go into the family and come out as a different family.
Yeah, right. It just oh man, it was so good. Oof. Great game. That's all I'm saying.
Anyways, moving on, guys. I think we're going to move on to Donovan's topic du jour.
Oh yeah, dude, horror games. I am so stoked for this summer, or just this year generally. Just there's so many good horror titles coming out for the PC. I'm actually super happy because I found out today that the Amnesia sequel, Machine for Pigs, is coming out in June. I didn't realize that it was actually coming out so soon, and oh man, I am so stoked for that. I can't even tell you. I love Amnesia. I don't know if you've seen the website, but me and Clay did an entire Let's Play of it. And it's just, oh man, I love that game. Just so much good, genuine fear in it. It's just everything about it. The atmosphere is perfect. I mean, even Penumbra was good. Like, everything Frictional's done is just fantastic. So I'm so excited for Machine for Pigs. I don't know if you've checked out the trailer at all or anything like that, but oh man.
Actually, I have Amnesia and I haven't played through it yet. I mean, but you know, those are the type of games you really kind of got to play in their court. You know, you got to play at night, have your lights off, headphones, sound up.
Oh yeah, dude, it's terrible. I mean, you have to realize my roommate, who I do all the stuff with the website with, you know, he's a father. He's a nice guy. He's like 25 years old. He's a larger dude, and just seeing the look of sheer terror in his pupils from a door flying open. Not even a monster. Just like a door just swinging open because of a gust. Just his hands jumping up from the keyboard to guard his face from the inevitable wind. Like, oh man. It is just...
Please tell me you recorded
Oh
this
yeah,
guy.
no, seriously, dude. The whole thing's recorded.
yeah, we have a whole series
yeah, it's
about
done. Every juicy minute. It's fantastic. It's the best, man. It's just...
I always like people freaking out over horror games.
Yeah, it's great.
Are Are there girly shrieks and screams
Oh,
to be
so
had?
many. If you don't want to watch the whole series, I even made a highlight video. I sat down with the 5.5 hours, and I was like, this is actually going to be really easy to get highlights from, because all I have to do is look at the audio. Whenever there's a there's a giant spike in the audio, there's Clay screaming like a girl. It was perfect, dude.
You should auto tune them and make them
Oh man, it's
sound.
great. But there's just seriously so many good horror games coming out. Machine for Pigs is coming out. There's this game called Daylight coming out. It's this company's they're called Red Barrel. It's their first title they're launching, and the plot of that is you're a news reporter. You're going to investigate this old abandoned. I think it's a sanatorium. I think. And the reason why you're going is because a military team went missing there, right? I'm pretty sure it's in Russia. Don't quote me on that. I haven't actually checked the trailer in a little while. I think it's Russia though. Anyways, it's another first-person horror game. The whole thing is you have your camera that you're recording everything with, so that's how you can see in the dark and things like that. And it's just it's a really fast-paced horror games. Most of the horror games like that, where you can't fight back and things like that, and you're running and hiding and finding clues, like Penumbra or things like Amnesia games like that. It's
or that Slender Man game.
The 8 pages. That's another great example. It's generally slower-paced gameplay. It'll pick up when you're running from the monster, but it's mainly stealth mechanics, hiding behind things. And Outlast, it's not. There's just this big ass military Russian mutant just fucking punching through doors and just, oh man, it's great. It was the best. I don't know. It looks like such a good flagship title. They're taking a tried and true horror method, just this whole first person perspective. They're even doing, you can hear your character breathe heavy when you're running and freaking out, which is just so good for immersion. Just little,
oh yeah, that would really
little details like that. It just looks like such a cool project. Just everything about it. So I'm really excited for that.
Is it a Russian developer or just
it just takes place in Russia? I'm pretty sure it's an American company.
I was thinking.
Do they have computers in Russia yet?
Powered by bears, dude.
I would hope so. Who else has been making Stalker? Yeah, I was a big fan of Stalker, and some of the when you go underground and get some of those areas, some of them are legitimately pretty creepy. It'd be cool to see a game that's just takes place more on the survival horror aspect than the run and gun aspect.
Yeah, it's great. They were talking about how when they were showing it off at PAX, right? They were laughing because they were having people who were just standing up and walking out of the tent. Just nope, they're done. That's just too scary. No more. They're finished with it. But it's just this year is going to be so huge for horror games, because the game I'm really excited about, the one I really, really want to harp on, that is just going to be huge, is this title called Daylight. And I don't know if you guys have heard about it. And the thing that really caught my attention about Daylight is they were talking about how they were really concerned at PAX because their booth was not really set up the best, right? And
PAX East, I take it.
And they were concerned because, how do you show off a horror title in a convention in the middle of a convention room floor? There's lights everywhere, people and everything.
Yeah, the atmosphere doesn't really.
And people were still just putting it down. They just couldn't play it. And a big reason why that is Daylight's the first game that's they've got the developer's kit for the Unreal 4 engine, or at least what's finished in it. And so it's the first game that's going to actually use the Unreal 4 engine. And so what's really cool about that is the entire way Daylight's designed, is it's a randomly generated horror game. And the reason why it's such a big deal with Unreal 4 is if you look at games that are randomly generated now, it's generally rooms. It'll be room A, room B, room C, and there's some, algorithm that'll...
Yeah, procedural generation. It'll have certain specific things that it'll put somewhere, but that each specific thing has been designed.
And the reason why that is because of dynamic lighting. Current generation engines can't generate dynamic lighting. It's too difficult of a thing. The shadows, the way it interacts, it's just that's so taxing. And the Unreal Engine, the Unreal 4, the reason why it's so big at Daylight is they can actually randomly generate lighting sources now. So as opposed
nice.
to rooms that are assembled, it's literally pieces. It'll be like this light with this set of walls with this bed and this chair. And so it's designed to be played in short stints, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And as you play through, you'll like unlock new pieces and things like that. Or, you know, it's not finished yet. That was one of the things they were talking about. I hope they keep it in. I think it sounds cool. But just like playing it in little sections that'll never be the same. They were talking about specifically how they wanted to have a horror game that like Let's Players and people could show on YouTube, and people would still have a completely different time with it. Just every single time. There's no way you're
Man, that's going to be awesome for Let's Plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so cool. Like, there's so much community, like, thought into just that game design, just how nobody's going to have the same experience. Everybody's going to want to be able to sit down and play that game with people because it's, you know, it's going to be great. It's going to change. I'm just so excited for Daylight. It's going to be great.
I'm actually really glad that procedural generation of content's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, and I mean, just...
Because I've always been a big fan of roguelikes, and that's one of the most important things.
Have you ever played Binding of Isaac? Oh,
Yes.
So good. Favorite roguelike I've played in so long. So long.
My roguelike addiction is Dungeon Crawl.
Oh, man.
That game is so hard.
But yeah.
I think I played it for a year and a half before I ever beat it. Once.
But I mean, just there's so many good horror games coming out, especially just with the new engines. I think it's really interesting that because of where the gaming market is right now, because I mean, the popular games that are like really making a lot of money nowadays are games that, you know, people are able to highlight online and have big communities and people can interact with. Like, look at the whole free-to-play system. If you really think about it, that's entirely community-driven. You know what I mean? I mean, like, look at TF2, like the whole Steam marketplace and everything there. Dota 2, like all those things being pulled off of the workshop and being made into items. Like, those are what's huge. That's really sort of where I feel the next, you know, that's the next big gaming movement. And to see like that sort of interacting with horror games, because horror games have already been a really niche genre. And especially if you think about it in the past, you know, like 10 years, it's sort of gone from horror survival to horror action in a really serious way. Like,
Resident Evil is an awesome example of that.
Resident Evil is a perfect example.
You know, there's no better example than Resident Evil.
But I think we could all agree that 4 blends them both so
Yeah, 4 was really
well.
good. To be fair, I did like 5 and 6. I didn't think they were scary, but I thought they played well.
I didn't dislike 5, but I didn't really enjoy it.
5 was like a punch in the gut to me.
I hated having that chick with me the whole time, though. That really...
Well,
really...
I was lucky to play with my roommate, and we were just basically laughing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, dude. It's bad. It's bad.
And how they turned Chris into a beefcake who punches boulders and whatever they did to Wesker was
dude,
just...
it's a minstrel show. It's terrible. But, I mean...
Yeah, it was still fun at some parts.
It was.
Though.
It felt like I was
gameplay-wise, though, like it wasn't painful to play, and that was really
no gameplay-wise. It was basically Resident Evil 4.
Graphically, it was pretty nice.
I have a hard time knocking a game that doesn't pull teeth for me to play. I mean, on the same note, I have a hard time knocking a game that's beautifully written and has amazing sound, but also plays like a bathtub. You know, so. You know, I don't know. I don't think it's the worst series in the world, but I mean, it's amazing. I guess the last horror game I really want to talk about, it's called The Evil Within. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that. Have you?
The
Evil Within has been blowing up because Bethesda, right, was tweeting little video clips, and they weren't telling anybody what it is. And what The Evil Within is they're taking, I think he was one of the producers and one of the writers, I don't remember off the top of my head, but from the original Resident Evil, and they're making a horror game. And I don't know if you guys have played any of Bethesda's horror games before, like Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is absolutely fantastic. That game's great. And it's just... to see big companies stepping up and trying to do survival horror as opposed to survival action. Like, another good comparison is Dead Space 2 versus Dead Space 3. You know what I mean? Like, Dead Space 2 is a lot more horror-oriented as opposed to Dead Space 3, which is a lot more action-oriented.
Dead Space 3 is straight up action from what I've heard.
It was.
Nothing horror
and it's just... It's so refreshing to see that be what's profitable. It's like...
Yeah, it is nice seeing that.
Like, community-driven games that are actually scary. Like, I am foaming at the mouth for the horror games this year.
There's there's a lot of genres that are being resurrected lately. I mean, we're seeing a lot of good adventure
Yeah,
games
that's true.
recently,
Yeah, a lot
too.
of retro games. I mean, how many people said Journey was Game of the Year last year? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like 90% of people. I've always wanted to play Journey, too. I don't have a PS3, unfortunately.
I really wish they
would
would do a Steam port, because I have a PS3, but it's just, I really wish I could play it on my PC. Yeah, I think it would be amazing and gorgeous. Like, the people who did the soundtrack for that also did the soundtrack for the game Monaco, which I've been playing a little bit lately, and it's just, it's good to see quality coming back as opposed to just production value. You know what I mean? Like, there are AAA titles I still like, but pretty much that's why they sell. It's because they're flashy and loud. It's not necessarily...
Yeah, but there's
new indie game research.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, nice. And especially since I've been on the whole indie train for years. Yeah, Kickstarter too. Kickstarter's fantastic.
Kickstarter has been a real great boon for people getting out games that they want to make. It really helps people get involved. You know, the actual community get involved with the game design process. There's a lot more interaction between developers and the community they're going to be selling the game to, which is what I think kind of why Japanese game dev companies have been lagging a little. They sort of are of the mindset of, look, we're going to put this out and you're going to buy it, period. They don't really care what the consumers have to say.
Yeah, it's branding. It's just labeling.
Kickstarter is quite nice for...
I mean, not even for games, just everything about Kickstarter. I think it's more of just... I mean, the internet, you know, the past, 5-6 years has become a completely accepted mainstream thing. But I mean, gaming and, actually wanting to do things like that has sort of become an accepted thing too. And that was never really the case. Like somebody saying, yeah, I want to get some money and trying to make video games. That's like totally reasonable nowadays.
Yeah, it's no like, oh, you're wasting your life. What are you doing? This is kid stuff. Go get a real job.
On the whole Kickstarter subject, did you guys see the Ouya has actually started to ship out, and quite a few people have already received them? Have you guys seen any of the videos and stuff?
I actually am surprised that it looks as good as it does. I was thinking about contributing to the Kickstarter, but then I was like, we'll see how it looks. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised.
It looks pretty cool. I gotta admit, I hear it plays like NES and SNES games too. Obviously, you have to have the original games to emulate, but but I hear it is quite a great system.
Yeah, and I mean,
isn't the controller like basically looks like a PS2 controller?
It's a flat 360 controller.
That's weird. But I mean,
the 360 controller is well designed, so I guess.
The 360 controller was the deciding factor between me buying a PS3 and a 360, actually.
Mine is mostly just what my friends had, and almost all my friends have Xboxes, not PS3s.
Yeah,
it was a little bit
it was the games. But I really like single player stuff on my PS3 and multiplayer on my 360. But, I think they're both good systems.
Speaking of that, Nino Kuni, we're all jealous of you being able to play
good. Aren't you jealous?
Anything with Miyazaki's name on it.
Oh, dude, that's exactly what it is. It's just Miyazaki, the video game. The cutscenes, literally, like, I wish somebody on YouTube would just, like, record the whole game and then just take the cutscenes and line them up, because I guarantee you it would look exactly like Spirited Away. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's so good. It's so awesome. Good. Gold star on Nino Kuni.
Yeah, it looks just fantastic. How is the battle system in it, by the way, while we're talking about it?
It's a little smorgasbordy. It's a little bit of everything, but it's solid. I mean, it's fun to play. There are times where it seems a little bit convoluted, because you can play as, like, the characters or as their avatars, which you also get the ability to catch, like, Pokemans, and can also evolve like Pokemans. Okay. And there's, like, an elemental system, but it's really weird, because you can switch back and forth between them, but they're all, like, present in the battle at the same time. Yeah, wow, so it's a little convoluted, especially since it's an active battle system. It's not a turn-based. Yeah, God, so you're, like, scrolling through to try to get to the defend command, because there's no, like, dedicated defend button. And so, like, it's not perfect, but it plays really well. Conceptually, it's flawless, and, I mean, the soundtrack's great. I'm pretty sure the soundtrack's the Tokyo Symphony, isn't it? I feel like it is.
I don't know. It could be. I mean, if Miyazaki's on board, then it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
do something
distinct
like that.
possibility I could be wrong.
Well, he's considered a national
because he
treasure by
is.
Japan.
Yeah,
As far as I'm concerned, he's a modern
I agree
wonder
with
of the
that.
world. But, I guess that's my opinion.
Basically, the
Yeah, I mean, I
Japanese
can get
Walt
down on
Disney.
some Miyazaki.
Yeah, dude, get it. So good. I mean, no PS3s. Never mind. My bad.
The question is it worth buying the entire system for, especially with PS4 coming out this
I
year?
don't know. It depends on how low the price drop goes on the PS3. Because aren't they releasing that final model this year too? The PS3 Mini or whatever it is. Did they already do that?
Well, I know they came out with a third model last year, which was all plastic and cheap.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's like
super cheap.
$120 or whatever, I mean, there are lots of good PS3 titles that I think would be worth the investment.
Have they said if the PS4 is going to have backwards compatibility?
They have said it won't.
Oh, you screwed it up again, Sony. Why am I surprised?
You will be able to get your old games via the Gaikai service, unfortunately. So get ready to shell out some more money for games you already own.
Obviously, yeah,
man. I have, for the record, Psychonauts I have bought 5 times. Just saying. I have.
Hey, I mean, I might buy a Wii U this year just because Earthbound's coming out again.
I'm never going to find a copy of that for my Super Nintendo. I need to just accept it. I got my copy of Chrono Trigger, and that's the best I'm ever going to get.
I think the
have an
only
extra
reason I'd want to get a
$300
Wii is for Xenoblade Chronicles. The only thing I can think of that I would.
Is the
Wii
Wii U
for.
backwards compatible?
I believe so.
Yeah, it might be worth it. See, if I had I think the Wii U would be good if I had friends coming over to my house all the time. Then there's a lot of great multiplayer games for people in the same room. But often I only play alone most of the time, or I use online multiplayer.
Which the Wii, I mean, Nintendo's still pretty allergic to online.
And actually speaking, now that we're kind of on the topic of the Wii, why don't we move on to my topic?
Yeah, I say this segues nicely.
So my main thing is I want to know if the Wii U, and even more so Nintendo, is going to survive this upcoming generation. I mean, it's really starting to look like they're making some terrible, I mean, not starting to, but they have just been making terrible business decisions for so long now. I mean, the Wii sold a ton, but it also completely destroyed their entire fan base.
In a pretty serious way.
Yeah, and the Wii U's been selling like absolute garbage. I mean, it's getting outsold by Xboxes, and I think the only console it's beating in sales is
which is a travesty. The Vita's amazing.
I mean,
the Vita is quite good.
It's just, I mean, it doesn't really have any advertisement. That was kind of the problem with the Wii U when it first came out. Really didn't come out to very much fanfare, and the actual advertisements for it were really
vague and casual gamery.
Because I mean, if you look at it, you're like, okay, what is this? It looks like a peripheral or an expansion to the Wii. It's called Wii U, and you can people still using the Wii remotes, and then there's this tablet thing, and the console itself looks very, very similar. So it's like they didn't really communicate that this was a brand new console. This was the next Nintendo thing.
Yeah, exactly. I always make the point. I was at the mall with my mom right before Christmas time, shortly after the Wii U launch, and we were at a gaming store, and we walked by a big stack of Wii U's, and she's like, dude, did they make a tablet for the Wii? Why does it need that? Most people that aren't really in the know have absolutely no idea what the Wii U is. It just seems like it's another stupid fucking add-on for the Wii.
Yeah, it seems another peripheral, which I always thought was funny with the Wii, that it was, the Wii remote was supposed to be the one peripheral. It can, can pretend it's anything. And yet that thing has more peripherals than anything since like the SNES.
Dude, I have a box of plastic garbage for the Wii. It sucks.
Dude, I have a box too. That's no joke. Mine's in a cider box.
So also recently, speaking of all of Nintendo's terrible decisions, let's talk about their bogarting the revenue of Let's Players on
ridiculous.
YouTube.
That I had not heard
it's
about.
It's craziness, man. It's absolute nonsense.
How are they doing that? Are they going through YouTube themselves and saying, hey...
What I would assume they're doing is they hired an external company that is now going through YouTube looking for all first-party Nintendo titles. Obviously, if you're Let's playing Call of Duty for the Wii U, that's going to stay up. But if you're playing a Mario game or a Zelda game, and if you use to monetize your videos, which a lot of Let's Players do for quite a bit of supplemental cash. It seems like
donations and whatnot. There's a lot of streamers.
Nintendo is now taking all the they're putting ads on all their first-party games, and they're taking all the ad revenue, which seems absolutely insane because, I mean, a Let's Play is pretty much free advertising for the game in the first place.
I figure game dev companies would love people Let's Playing the games because it's just free advertising.
Most of the time, the reason you're allowed to collect, because I collect revenue on YouTube, the reason it falls in the DMCA for the fair use. It all comes to fair use, because the reason they can't necessarily claim intellectual property on some videos in cases of like Let's Plays is because it comes down whether they're coming to see the player's opinion or if they're coming to see the game. And the problem with Let's Plays is it can be argued that they're going to see the game. Yeah, it really depends on the Let's Play, you know? I mean, if you even look at some of my series, it'll flip between me talking about the game and me just sort of talking about what's going on in my life, you know what I mean? And a lot of Let's Players are like that, so it's kind of a gray area. I mean, with reviews, it's a little bit harder because they're obviously, you know, they're coming for your opinion on the game. That's pretty black and white, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they can't touch reviews. That's what I've read from
exactly,
everywhere.
Because
it's
they're
completely
coming for
fair
you.
use.
It's your intellectual property there. It's not so much about the game. It's what you're saying. But with Let's Plays, it's such a gray area, and the DMCA is so poorly written that it's really hard to tell. And so it's pretty easy for a game like Nintendo to just march in and be like, nope, this is our IP, we're taking the money, and there's not anything you can do about it.
And, you know, there's no real legal system set up for this quite yet. I mean, it's just all YouTube's terms and conditions.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like this is, you know, that we're still pretty much in the wild west of the internet days. So a lot of it is just
not as bad as we were in the 90s, but it's...
Well, no, it's always been getting more and more regulated. But, I mean, a lot of these things move fast, new fads pop up. I mean, I remember when Let's Plays first started as being a thing, and then they just exploded everywhere.
Yeah, apparently people like to watch other people play video games. Right? It's a strange phenomenon.
Well, yeah, no, that's never happened before.
Okay, so I have another thing about Nintendo that I want to bring up, and that was in a recent statement from an EA senior
they got burned
engineer.
So bad.
I have the tweet up right here, and I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys. Bob Somerville said, "The Wii U is crap. Less powerful than an Xbox 360, poor online/store, weird tablet, Nintendo is walking dead at this point." And this followed up several of his tweets saying that EA is not supporting the Wii U whatsoever.
Yeah, they said they have no games in development for the Wii U.
I don't imagine they're going to either. I mean, that's the real problem with Nintendo right now, in my opinion, at least like what they're doing market-wise, is they're playing catch-up. The Wii U is a competitor to the 360. It's not a competitor to the Infinity or whatever it's called.
And it might not even be as good as the 360 to tell you the truth.
It's a lateral move. I mean, some things it does better, some things it has like slower.
I mean, they're
CPU,
gonna end up Segaing it. They're not gonna be able to produce any hardware anymore, or unless.
The same guy actually, he has another quote. I think it was him who basically equated the Wii U
exactly.
With
like Nintendo, except with the exception of the handheld market, since the 3DS is doing really well and with good reason. I'm not going to lie, I really do like my 3DS. I mean,
Link to the Past 3, or Link to the Past 2, that's going to be a system seller for sure.
I would not be surprised to see Nintendo just developing software and just dropping hardware altogether.
I don't think they'll do that. I mean, they're not as bad off as Sega was.
They do have about $14 billion, I believe.
Yeah, they don't really spend their money on anything. And so and first and foremost, Nintendo is a hardware developer. So if anything, they'll focus more on hardware than anything else because they are still a hardware company in that spirit. But
I'd really like to see them go third party.
I don't see them going software only anytime soon. I think they might have to really take a step back and reevaluate their dedication to the Wii. And maybe actually start listening to consumers. I know as strange as that's going to be for a Japanese company to do that, but I think that's what they really need to do. But
Nintendo hasn't been listening to their customers for an extraordinarily long time. I'm a member of Starman.net, and we've been trying to get Earthbound out forever.
Neither does Sony, neither does any major Japanese company. I mean, it's really that to realize that Western developers, and even European developers and all that now, are their main competitors and in many ways are surpassing them.
Sounds like they need to start sending people here for business school.
They're not kings of the. That's the other thing that gets me about Japanese business. If we're on that topic, is they don't believe in supply and demand as the basis of their sort of economy.
It would be really nice to see a competitive Nintendo console. That would be sick. It would make me very happy.
It would be really, really cool if the Wii U was not the Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U. It seemed like they were just trying to recreate the exact same thing the Wii was. Get it out earlier, get a lot of people to buy it, then completely forget about it.
But it ain't 2005 anymore.
Yeah, it's like the motion gimmicks. Nobody
Especially
really cares that much anymore.
Well, everyone felt burned from the Wii.
Yeah,
I mean, it obviously doesn't work.
And the problem is just third-party support. Nintendo's never had good third-party support. Because they're kind of really controlling about what they let be on their console.
I think in that series of tweets from Bob Summerwell, he did mention that the only games that truly make money on Nintendo consoles are first-party games.
Well, yeah, Zelda and Link Mario and Zelda, and that's about it, actually.
And I mean, can Nintendo continually release the same games over and over again? I mean, we keep seeing clones of Ocarina of Time. We keep seeing clones of Smash. We keep seeing clones of Mario 64. I mean, a lot of these franchises have been established in the N64 area, and now we're seeing the same thing just again and again with better graphics on each console they make. It's getting to be quite disappointing.
That's pretty true of any sort of major game franchise. They just kind of keep doing the same thing.
I mean, let's look at Sony. A lot of Sony's their big mascots were things like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, things like that. And then eventually, whenever they would move to a new generation, that's when they would try to breathe in a new character, some sort of new franchise. Yeah, exactly. Look at what Uncharted did for PS3. But Nintendo can't do that because they're not competing.
They need a new IP, really.
Yeah, in a pretty
they need to start working on new
dude.
IPs.
Yeah, they definitely
I mean, this whole rehashing Mario over and over and over again isn't working. It's not necessarily the safest move considering Sonic's history the past few games, but I think it's really nice for Sega to throw them a bone and say that the next couple of Sega titles are going to be Wii exclusives. Nintendo really needs some help. They're just making bad decisions, and it's just stagnant. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
Well, I think a lot of it still stems from from the crappy hardware that the Wii U is putting out. They just don't have a good home market.
Yeah, I mean they're appealing to the sort of casual market, which I mean you're not going to build up that kind of brand loyalty.
Casual's good for a one-time buy, but continually buying their products repeatedly.
That's why things like Angry Birds and PopCap games gotten so popular. It's like they'll buy them, but there's no actual loyalty to the company.
Yeah,
I think that's not
draw something.
Not like even with all the Wii and all that stuff, there's still rabid Nintendo fans out there that see Nintendo as this golden god that can do no wrong just because they made a bunch of games that they loved as a kid.
It would be really nice to just see a really good new franchise come out of them. It would be hilarious in a year if Nintendo was like, oh yeah, Wii U, we were just kidding. Here's the Nintendo Next featuring, look at this game. It's some new story. Yeah, right.
And you can trade in your Wii U for this.
Alternate universe shit, but it would just, yeah, dude.
Multiverse.
Yeah, dude. Easy ride.
Solution to everything, multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do something because right now they just cannot compete with the Xbox and the PS and the PlayStation, but
the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 even. I mean, we're not even talking about the next-gen consoles even.
And really, at the end of the day, if they do go software only, the consumers are the one who's going to be hurt because less competition is just not good for a market.
Absolutely. Competitive markets breed quality.
Yep. Which really hope that that they figure something out. I mean, I used to be a pretty rabid Nintendo fanboy, and then basically,
oh, you and me both.
About when the Wii happened, I was a big fan of the GameCube. I mean, it didn't have a ton of games, but some of the games it had were really, really good. I mean, my favorite Zelda.
Wind Waker is really good.
My favorite Mario is Mario Sunshine.
Horrifically underrated.
A lot of people straight up hate Sunshine. I understand why, but I thought it was really good.
It's
my
great.
personal
It's great.
favorite.
It's so much fun. It's like the best example of 3D platforming, even if you don't like the whole theme.
Yeah, but it's like with the Wii, it's just you look at it and it's like this isn't for me anymore. This is targeting a completely different demographic.
There was really, yeah. I mean, I bought all like the first party AAA games up until around Donkey Kong Country Returns came out, and then I just, I had to just give up on Nintendo. I'm still thinking about buying a used copy of that possibly soon. If I do, I'll let you guys know if I do. But that is an interesting offer. I might take you up on that. But for me, Nintendo really started just eating away at me with the N64. Because I was just coming down from the biggest RPG high I've ever had. The Super Nintendo just had great 16-bit RPG after great 16-bit RPG, and then I end up with Quest 64.
Oh, that game had so much potential.
As the first and you see Final Fantasy VII on the commercials coming out on the PlayStation, and you're sitting there playing fucking Quest 64, just crying to yourself a little bit. Because Quest 64 is a terrible game.
They were so close, though.
It was,
and then
I liked the battle.
Only other RPG they come out with was Paper Mario,
the game was good, but
which isn't bad. But
you could
it's
play
no
that,
PlayStation.
It's not hard, but it was still fun, dude.
Your 3-year-old nephew could probably just mash on the controller and eventually beat that game.
Final Hallway 13.
Yeah.
And the GameCube didn't really have that many RPGs either, so it just kept. During the whole time, I kept buying the PlayStation for the RPGs and the Nintendo for the Nintendo games, but RPGs... I just can't justify doing that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't drop that much money on a console just for one game. It's almost never worth it.
Unless you're buying a PS Vita, buy PS Vita for Persona 4.
Or can you just get a PlayStation 2 and play Persona 4?
No, actually, there are multiple reasons that the Persona 4 The Golden is the best version, because it adds new characters, and the dialogue reads itself, so you don't have to hit A between every dialogue bubble, so you can just sit there and chill out and watch it kind of like it's a movie.
The biggest anime. I just never really been into the Shin Megami Tensei series of stuff.
I've been doing Persona 4 too, off and on lately. It is not anything like Persona 4. And I'm playing the PSP version, but you don't actually walk around the environments. You just kind of move a cursor over things and talk to people that way, and it feels really strange.
Like point and click?
I don't know. It just doesn't compete.
Does anybody,
it's kind of like point and click, dude.
Is anybody else bugged by that naming convention of a sequel? Like Final Fantasy X and 2.
It's so convoluted and confusing.
It's like if your entire series is based off of every game is different.
Yeah,
so why are you making a sequel to a specific game? I know,
Final Hallway 13.3
screams cash grab.
Yeah, even then, it's why couldn't it be like Final Fantasy X Aftermath? Something like that. Why does it have to be Final Fantasy X-2? What happens?
They did that with Final Fantasy VII, didn't they? There's Ambient Children, and there's a PSP version or something like that.
Well, no, Children of Eden.
There was Crisis Core, and there was. Most of those titles were PS3 titles, but they were different games. They played differently. Especially if you look at Dirge of Cerberus, and that didn't bother me because they were different games with different titles. Quality of those games aside, and that's a different conversation for a different place. You still played them. They were different games. But how ridiculous is it going to be when eventually we'll see, Final Fantasy 14. What's going to happen there, man? What's the plan? What's the contingency? How are we going to get out? We've created a monster.
I just want to see something. I just want to see something like Final Fantasy 15 squared. Just start getting into mathematical notation to determine which game you're playing.
You have to distribute numbers and stuff. It's 2x plus.
The title of your game is Algebra.
Red flags when your games are turning out like the DBZ series. That's not good.
No. You've crossed the line.
That's too long, dude. New formula. Hit the drawing board.
ZGT.
Start putting random letters and exclamation points and Start putting punctuation after it.
Hashtags.
Dragon Ball YOLO.
Hashtag.
How horrible would that be?
That's
We've had
terrible.
happens. I basically just swear off electronics.
His
I feel like
swag
this is
levels
over
are like
9,000.
that. Oh, dude, it would be so bad.
I'm gonna go move to the forest and live in a cabin for the rest of my days.
Makes sense to me, dude. I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
Anyways, why don't we go ahead and just move on to Josh's topic?
Yeah,
this evening, his topic du jour.
My recent way of killing time is Twitch TV and streaming games, especially with focus on tournaments. I like how esports, which is a dumb name, don't get me wrong, but is starting to become a lot more viable and a lot more.
Oh man,
popular.
I've got so much I can even talk about on that topic.
Things like I kind of got into it when I found out that GOM TV, a Korean broadcasting company, had English commentators on on an online stream that you could watch StarCraft or original StarCraft matches. Which
Smart.
Everybody
Smart.
knows how basically Korea, StarCraft is pretty much South Korea's
It's
national
the model.
sport.
Their national
So it's
sport.
really big, and it's awesome to actually be able to see that and like watching the grand finals of one of their big pro league things, and they actually are basically in a football stadium type deal, and there's just a million people there. And it's like that's really awesome to see, and I like how it's starting to gain popularity over here. I remember back I used to watch fighting game tournaments. I'm a big fighting game nut, and they were just like little dingy things. It's like one guy crammed into the corner of an arcade with a computer streaming it, and people tripping over cords, and it's an interesting look.
Truly awesome internet stuff was going on. Truly awesome internet
It's an
stuff.
interesting look into the whole community and where it came from and how it's evolved since then. But it's also nice seeing it actually kind of get to a professional level, and not just Evo, but the smaller tournaments are starting to become bigger and bigger, more known.
Do you think it's going to be like hip hop, like where hip hop was in the streets,
Yeah, and then it gets
kind of got
commercialized.
into the houses, and now it's completely commercialized.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it kind of forces a certain level of quality. I mean,
and bigger prizes for athletes.
There's more incentive for them to devote time to the game and get better at it, so they put on a better show.
I guess would you call them athletes? What do you
supposed
call
to
a
call them
professional
athletes.
gamer?
It's
A professional
what-
gamer?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the news and whatever probably start calling them cyber athletes. That's just ugh. That's something
athletes.
straight out of like a 90s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Let me plug into the League of Legends.
If anyone out there does have a good term for it, please
It's
email
really funny.
us
So you mentioned
at the zorkpodcast@gmail.com.
if you mentioned League of Legends, which is interesting because I kind of figured StarCraft was the big thing in Korea, and then they got the English commentators, and they actually saw pretty good numbers, and a lot of English speaking people were watching it in the States. Granted, it'd be on at like 4 or 5 in the morning because time differences. But League of Legends is so far and away the most popular competitive game right now.
Dude, you look at it on Twitch, it has like 3,000
on
streams.
Average, on Twitch TV, the number of viewers for League of Legends is like anywhere between 80 and 90,000. And if there's a tournament on, like a major one of the Riot sponsored ones, 120,000 people, 200,000 people watching the same stream. It's like no game even comes close to that. Like StarCraft 2.
I think you'd be surprised. Valve has been releasing a lot of numbers, and Dota 2. Riot's gonna definitely have to keep an eye on Dota 2. It's definitely getting competitive numbers.
That's a lot of Valve doing it though. They're putting up huge prize pools.
Absolutely. Well,
which is really helping its tournament.
Have you seen anything with the Compendum? I don't know how much Dota 2 you play. Have you seen any of that?
I only barely dabble.
Okay, well, right now there's a deal because they're doing the qualifiers for the internationals, right? And so right now what Valve is doing, and this is absolutely fucking genius. There is no way around it, okay? They're doing this thing called the Compendum. And what the Compendum is it's a digital book that when you buy and activate, it attaches to your profile, right? And the way the Compendum works is it's for the entire tournament. So it's the qualifiers for East and West all the way through the finals, everything like that, right? And you can do things like say who you think the most banned hero is going to be, who's going to win these tournaments and this brackets. It'll show the statistics and everything like that. It's $10, right? With the $10, besides getting the actual digital book, you also get a 225% experience boost for the duration of the entire tournament. So now through August, I think, is when the International 3 finals are. Everybody who buys it, $2.50 goes into the prize pool directly. So the prize pool's gone from 1.5 million to last time I checked, I think it was 2.3 million. And the thing is as they're adding more money, right, they're doing it like Kickstarter. So you get a unique courier with it too. And so because so many people have purchased it, they're coming up with ways for the courier to upgrade. And so many people have purchased it now that everybody who has one's going to get a custom HUD skin. And so there are things like telling them which hero to release next and just so many options. And it's like such an interesting way for people to interact with the community, being able to be like, no, this is who I think is going to win this tournament. Look at my courier. It's upgraded this many times from me watching this many matches. And look at how huge the prize pool is. Like, it's going to end up being half or more of the prize pool is going to come straight out of players' pockets. You know what I mean?
That's really cool because it almost gives it like an ESPN type feel where you have the information to be analytical, and it really bolsters discussion about the game itself. Which really helps. It's like
it's a live book.
As an aside, I love Valve has figured out just how much money people will pay for purely cosmetic.
Yeah, I mean,
things.
it's a good system the way they do it too. I mean, it's the TF2 model, and the TF2 model was so successful to begin with. I mean, just adding
TF2, my favorite war theme.
Yeah, dude,
simulator.
I love Hat Fortress 2. It's a great game. But I mean, that's literally what it is. It's taking that just outrageously successful model and adding it to the, chemical addictive quality that is MOBA games. And not only that, but they're able to take the licensing for the granddaddy of all MOBA games. You know what I mean? Like, you hear Dota, and anybody who's ever touched, Warcraft 3 immediately begins frothing at the mouth. Like,
oh yeah, the one thing about those games though is they really bring out the worst in people.
Oh man.
Those communities are
so
toxic.
bad, dude. It's the worst thing in the world. It's terrible.
I like at least Riot is trying really, really hard to punish players.
They really are.
Who are just negative and nasty all the time. I heard the last thing they were working on this thing, basically an automatic jerk detector that will issue like temporary bans.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about things like that. Reports, things like that.
Yeah, reports after a game, certain number of reports in a certain amount of time for the same thing. I think it even has like a chat filter where if you say certain things, like I'm sure like racial,
if you use the F word X amount of times, you're banned.
Yeah, I mean it suspends your account for like a few days or something, and you might start seeing penalties on your account and whatnot. I think it's cool. So, I was reading a topic about it, and someone mentioned I think would be an interesting idea is, especially in League of Legends where you level up to level 30, then you can start doing ranked, is to keep toxic players out of rank, is to dock them experience. Like make your account lose a level so they have to get that level.
That's not a bad idea.
Just so that they can't do ranked for a little while, and like subsequent times they'll lose more and more levels.
It's a really good idea. I'm actually kind of surprised because Valve is aware of how bad it is, and so Dota is still in closed beta technically, right? But they've implemented a report and a commend system. But the thing that I really like about it is the way it's set right now, you can only report 2 people a day or 2 people a week, something like that, so that you can't abuse reporting. And what they're doing right now is instead of warnings being time bans, right? The way that it works is if you get a set number of warnings, something like that, is they literally disable your ability to type chat. Like there's a VGS, there's a VGS system in the game, so you can do like key commands to be like missing left, missing middle, things like that. Yeah. But they make it so you can't physically type. You can only use that system. So you can only be like missing, good game, well played, and I think it's such a healthy way of addressing the problem before it gets out of control. I mean,
yeah, I like that idea. I think Dota was one thing about Dota that bugs me that League has is the surrender option.
Yeah,
Like in Dota, it's like, okay, this game is done. We're pretty much so far behind, we're not going to win. But these guys are taking forever to take our towers. They're not pushing. It's like, let me just go to the next game. I'll take my loss. And the only way to do that is just quit the game. I cannot remember the last time I played a game of Dota where by the end of the game, half of the enemy team was gone.
yeah. I mean,
Like they just start quitting. It's like that just takes away from the victory too. It's like, oh, half the enemy teams left. They couldn't even try to have a comeback because they just threw up their hands.
see, I agree, but I think it's more of a community standpoint because a surrender option would be really, really helpful. But the thing you have to realize is I feel like it was definitely a sentiment in Dota 1, but I mean, comebacks are a thing. It is possible. Like, there's definitely a point where the nail's in the coffin. You're not going to be able to come back in a deficit from a game of, like 30-3 where you have no towers. That's not going to happen. But you would be surprised the kind of comebacks you can actually get in Dota just because of how strong characters are individually. Like, they don't really do that whole gray paste style of balancing that Riot does. So...
Yeah, and this individual character scaling is a little bit.
Yeah, like characters generally are a lot stronger than they are in a game like League, you know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense that they don't have it, but I agree. People being able to leave pretty much without any sort of punishment is a big problem since, I mean, you get like a DC every game. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend of mine he's the one who got me to start playing Dota in the first place, and I was just like, he's like, I'm like, there's really no punishment for leaving. He's like, well, you get put in the low priority queue. That's not really a punishment. You just go into the queue and browse the internet until it pops up.
Reddit. Like, it...
really not. It's really not a thing against.
Would you guys be interested in moving on to our main topic?
Yeah, we could. We could rant about MOBAs all day, so I'm fine with moving on.
Yeah, I would have to hit the MOBA alarm.
Yeah, no problem, dude. We should actually get one.
Maybe I'll add it in later.
Wicked 6. Somebody stop him.
Right. Okay, so the whole idea of this whole podcast that we've been doing is, we're going to focus around a main event every single time. And, our main topic, rather, sorry. And the main topic today is the new Xbox will be announced on the 21st, which is 2 days from when we're recording. What is this system going to need to have on it for you guys to buy it, or is it already a must-buy for you guys?
It's definitely not a must-buy, I'll tell you that much right now. I love my Origin way more than I love my 360. But, I don't know. I'm really concerned about the always-on option that they've pretty much confirmed is going to be there. I hate DRM so much.
Damn, what's his name? Adam Orth? That fucking asshole?
Oh, yeah, dude, he got canned so fast, that motherfucker deserved it. No joke.
Yeah, don't be a dick on Twitter if you work for MS.
Yeah, dude, that is not a good plan at all.
See, for me, I think when we're talking about the always online thing, I don't think just from a business standpoint they would do that. You know what I mean? There's too many people in rural areas that can't get proper internet, and not to mention people outside of the U.S. and first world countries. I mean, people in third world countries do want to buy their system. It's just not many people can. And if they restrict it to only people with high-speed internet, high-quality internet, I mean, that's really cutting out just an enormous part of their entire market.
I mean, it would be a little bit different if fiber optic was more of a standard thing available in more areas. But, I mean, there aren't people who are going to have even who have high-speed internet, who aren't going to be able to have enough bandwidth to support something like that all the time, you know what I mean? Yeah, it just seems so unreasonable. I just don't see how they're going to be able to make it work. Not to mention, it just seems like a company admitting that they don't trust any of their fans. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah we like your money and we like the fact that you guys support us, but we think you're fucking thieves and monsters. Like,
probably
that's
pirating everything.
Yeah, that's not a good message.
Yeah, it's not a good look at all. And then there's also all these rumors about how the new Xbox will most likely be more of an entertainment system than it will be oriented around gaming.
Yeah, which I never really bought that whole angle with the PS3. Like, I know it works like that, and I know, I'm not going to lie, I use the Netflix and Hulu on my PS3 all the time. But if I'm buying a console, it's mainly because I want a console. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, how many things do you own right now within your reach can play Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, everything. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Your cell phone, your PS Vita. I mean, do you have a Roku, Apple TV? Everything plays Netflix now. I mean,
dude, my 3DS does everything.
Man, that's got to be weird watching Netflix on a 3DS.
It is a little strange, but whatever, dude. The Office. What are you gonna do?
For sure. And then, so what would you like to see? What do you think it needs to do to compete with Sony's event that they had just like 2 or 3 months ago?
Show the actual console. That'd be a good start.
Yeah, you might have to wait till E3 to see them both.
Yeah, right. That'd be ridiculous. But I don't know. Sony's press conference didn't really go the best, or at least I didn't feel like it did.
I thought it was. Yeah, it didn't really excite me, but the hardware does look very, very promising.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of potential in the system. It'll be interesting to see, because I'd say the 360 is what really benchmarked this generation. Like, there's some things the PS3 could do that were, higher end quality than what you were looking at with the tech available. So it'll be interesting to see if the PS4 is kind of like that again, or if the PS4 is going to be one of those things where it just doesn't necessarily turn out as good as everyone's expecting.
Yeah, I think it's a big concern. I think the always online thing will be an issue. The being in a total media box. I mean, I've heard from what I've been reading on some places is that some people are expecting to see this as something that will replace your cable box in your living room. So you're going to be able to watch HBO. You're going to be able to watch premium cable content directly on your console, as well as using it as a gaming device.
Well, a lot of cable retailers now are also talking about switching to models where you pick your channels, as opposed to just some sort of program.
Which would be fantastic. I would just, because there's only 3 channels I watch, so why don't I just pay for those?
Cartoon Network, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network.
For me, it's Food Network, and Food Network.
Creme fraiche.
I'm going to cook so many pastries.
Dude, so many.
I think it's pretty safe to assume that at the 21st event, we are going to see footage of Call of Duty Ghost. And it may or may not be an Xbox-only title. I highly doubt it will be, but I have a feeling that Call of Duty Ghost will be the flagship title that'll be coming out, the launch title. That'll be.
I mean, at that point, my eyes are pretty much just going to glaze over, and I'm probably going to start drooling onto my keyboard.
Yeah, dude,
sheer boredom.
I have no love for the modern shooter. It is
lucrative. There's no denying its popularity. So I mean, yeah, that's going to be its big.
It sells 6 million copies on the day it comes out.
Yeah. I mean,
and I'll probably be one to buy one. I play a lot of Call of Duty personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they're bad. I don't like stagnant repetitiveness. Like, I'm okay with things being sequels and things like that if they're taking a step forward. But I mean, I feel like that's such a big reason why, or at least so far as I can tell, Black Ops 2 flopped so hard. Is because, I mean, it's fucking Modern Warfare, man. Who cares?
Well, they announced it as trying to be something just epic and game-changing in the Call of Duty universe. But honestly, Modern Warfare 3, I think, is light years ahead of it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't really see how they're going to necessarily innovate, especially since they haven't been trying to.
I'm not sure, but I think they're working on a new engine for this next one. So it'll be new engine, new console.
That would help a lot. That would be pretty cool. I would definitely be willing to check it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll sell.
I'm probably going to end up getting the new Xbox. I tend to lean towards Xbox titles more than PlayStation titles. And Microsoft doesn't piss me off nearly as much as Sony does.
You know what I want to throw out there, too, is so Sony has announced that nothing is backwards compatible, including PlayStation Network downloads. Now, if Microsoft can give me all the Xbox Live Arcade games that I bought on my PS3 and backwards compatibility, day one buy.
I think I heard that the new Xbox is going to be backwards compatible. I think that was leaked around the same time its name, Infinity, got leaked. I could be wrong.
I heard that the Infinity name was a hoax because I didn't think Microsoft had confirmed it.
Well, they haven't confirmed anything really yet.
Yeah, they wouldn't confirm it, but
we've heard 720, we've heard Durango, we've heard Fusion, and we've heard Infinity. I'm willing to bet that Infinity is probably going to be its name, considering how close we are to launch.
My money is Z-Box. It's going to be the Z-Box.
The Z-Box.
We know Durango, but that was just a project title, like Project Dolphin and Project Revolution.
Or Natal.
Yeah. The Z-Box? Oh, that'd be awesome. 'Cause it sounds like Z-Bot.
Yeah, Z-Bots. That's sick.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah, dude, I'd be down.
All right.
I think
Go
it'll be
ahead, Josh,
interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see how awkward the presentators or the presenters are.
They always are so bad for
That's
Microsoft.
always one of my favorite things about watching this thing is just watching like the nerdy developer type, obviously, clearly uncomfortable.
Check out this game. It's got new
Yeah,
features.
just clearly uncomfortable. The Sony
The
one,
dungeoning system. Like,
the Sony one a while
new
back had
engines.
this great segment. I can't even remember what they were talking about. I was so focused on these guys. There was like 4 of them. Only one of them ever said anything, and the other ones just stood there, arms like just straight down at their sides. Oh, it was so cringingly awkward. It was amazing.
Japanese presenters tend to be either really good or really bad as well. I always really like watching Miyamoto.
Well, they're usually really animated, and they usually seem pretty comfortable talking in front of a crowd. It's just their grasp of their English is usually not very good. Kind of makes it unintentionally funny. I probably shouldn't laugh at somebody having an accent. They know more languages than I do, but it's funny seeing them try to talk in English, and it's kind of not quite there yet.
yeah, the only thing that ever makes me really laugh is when it's just really bad lost in translations. It's just, oh man, that is not a good translator. That is not what you meant to say at all. The new PS3 controller has wireless fish capabilities. Like, oh no, that's not what. Oh, that's not it.
That's not what you meant.
So close, but so far.
Fiber coptics.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they're still gonna be showing off their games and oh, look how pretty these games are, and just have very, very bad tech demos like they did at the PS4 thing.
I'm extremely interested in this event for sure. I mean, because we might see new games, but then E3 is coming right around the corner, so is it just going to be like a 30-minute teaser, possibly?
That is true. I mean, what are they... I bet if anything, it's just going to be them revealing a few things and being like, tune into E3 where we'll really show them off.
Another controller. Aw, yeah.
And honestly, I would really like to see Microsoft not change a single thing with their current controller.
I kind of doubt they will, to be honest. I mean, it's worked so well with them.
The only thing they've done is
controller. It's just they're going to change the size, maybe.
Yeah, they just streamline it every gen. Yeah, that's it.
Reposition a control stick, by an 1/8 of an inch. Maybe give it different colors. Yeah, but I bet it's basic. I mean, PlayStation pretty much hit their stride with the DualShock, and they haven't strayed from that at all.
So to be fair, that's like the golden success story of console controllers.
The PlayStation one?
Yeah, I mean it's always just been so good.
It's just a Super Nintendo copy, really.
Yeah, well, which is fine.
Yeah, well, it sticks.
Yeah, it's like, what can we do with the Super Nintendo? When it originally was being developed, it was a Super Nintendo, really.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, it wasn't until they were like, nope, we don't want to work together. Nintendo doesn't want to use discs, that the PlayStation even really started coming together at all, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have any of you guys ever used a 64DD?
No, I haven't.
Nope.
I am so in the market to get one. I've been watching so many videos lately of the 64DD, and it just looks so cool to have.
I mean, what can you even get on it?
There's apparently an awesome SimCity game that's all in Japanese.
What? I want to play that.
And there's also apparently a really good expansion pack for F-Zero that allows you to make your own levels on the N64 F-Zero.
What? Really?
Was the DD ever even released over here? Is that going to be import only kind of thing?
It is definitely import only, and there is, to my knowledge, either 9 or 12 games for it.
That's more than I thought it would have had, actually.
All of which vary quite a bit in prices, and most of the games that were actually originally in development for the 64DD just were later released as N64 titles on just the card instead. Jet Force Gemini, several others. There's quite a few. But yeah, it's cool hardware, man. I love watching shit about it. I want to get my hands on one.
It would definitely be fun to play around with. There's definitely no question about that.
You had a knack for that quirky peripheral hardware. And you're still the only person I knew who ever had a Super Game Boy.
I had a Virtual Boy too.
Oh man, you actually had one?
Yeah.
Brutal.
My roommate has one still. I don't know if it
I went ahead when it came out. I spent my entire life savings on it, and then 6 months later, the N64 came out, and no games were being released for the Virtual Boy.
Yep. No more ever.
Remember,
Fuck you once again, Nintendo.
remember going to your house and playing Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis was the
That
bomb.
game was legit good.
You know,
See, that's
quite
one
good
thing.
was the Wario game for the Virtual Boy was quite good.
Yeah, that one was good too. That was about
I mean, that's
it.
one thing that can be said about Mario's, even though that they have so many spin-off games. Generally speaking, at least they're fun, even if they're terribly conceptualized.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Nintendo knows how to make a decent platformer.
I know how
That's
to make a
true.
decent golf game too out of Mario. I mean, every Mario game is pretty decent, really.
Dude, did you ever play the basketball title on the DS?
I did not. I also
Oh,
always
so
wanted to play
good.
the soccer one too. The soccer
Strikers
one
was
looked cool.
garbage.
Oh, was
yeah,
it?
I mean, a rare miss, but that game was fucking
So what's the
horrible.
basketball one, like NBA Jam featuring Mario and Yoshi?
Oh, man. The basketball was great. It was so good, dude. The basketball game was a blast. It was nonsense. It was total shenanigans. But, I mean, oh, man, it was great. I have so many good memories of sitting in front of good times with friends of mine in their cars, just sitting there, just playing 2-on-2. Just, oof, good stuff.
Could you turn the basketball into a fireball? And if yes, man, that is predictable.
Yeah, you. That's a surprise to you? You didn't, like...
No, so I just said it was very, very predictable. Like I can already imagine exactly what that game is like.
Yeah, I'm just surprised you had to ask. I mean, come
And
on,
Yoshi
dude.
probably turns it into some fucking egg, and
Right.
Luigi has a green fireball, and the princess does something fucking ridiculous.
With hearts.
Yeah.
With hearts and crying and shit. Did you guys ever play Super Princess Peach?
No, what?
No.
I want to.
It was a side-scrolling title for the original DS, and it's pretty
That
good.
was
But
actually
like
kinda
some of
fun.
her attacks, she just cries and then like fills up the area with like water and shit. It's like, really, this is a little anti-women
A
kind
little
of.
misogynist.
Yeah.
A little casual misogyny.
Super move unlocked. Peach makes a sandwich. Like, come on, guys. Let's tone it down a little.
Peach calls Mario to do things for her because she's incompetent.
There's a spider. She has to grab Luigi. Like, oh, man.
So getting back onto the topic about the Xbox event,
Yes.
I guess let's just try and what do we want to see?
Backwards
What do we
compatibility.
That's
And-
number one for me.
Yeah, backwards compatibility is going to be important.
I want to see my achievements transfer over, which I think why wouldn't they?
That would be really cool. I didn't even think about it, but if they didn't do that, that would be so frustrating, especially for so many people who do
It's
that.
probably going to use the same Xbox Live system, so it makes sense that there's really no reason for them to stray from that system. It works well.
It seems like it's going to be an integration, from what I understand, of the Windows 8 and Xbox architecture,
that
and
Metro
this opens
thing.
up all kinds of stuff. I imagine it's going to be an x86 setup for the console or whatever. But I think where this console could really shine is if they are able to integrate it with Windows 8 correctly.
I wonder if we're going to see console to PC compatibility between games for Windows Live. Like,
I mean, it's
that'd
all
be great.
x86, man.
Like multiplayer games where an Xbox player can play with a friend on PC.
Oh, I would kill if I could play Borderlands on my PC with my roommate upstairs. That would be great.
On the Xbox, yeah.
It'd be hard.
Want
It'd be
that.
hard to
Want that.
balance first-person shooters that way because of the difference of controlling with 2 thumbsticks versus mouse and keyboard.
Well, you just have the option to turn it on or off.
Oh, you just have some kind of auto aim or aim correction, aim help, aim assistance. I guess they call it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Dude, yeah, if you went up against, if you were on Call of Duty, you have a Xbox 360 controller versus a mouse and keyboard, you have no chance in hell
No,
of
yeah,
winning.
you'd get smoked on a console.
Yeah, that's not a fair contest. I mean,
Irrelevant even. It's just terrible.
for me, I think the other thing I really want to see out of the next gen Xbox is I don't know if you guys seen any of that Illuma Room stuff.
Yes, I have. It looks very interesting and very expensive for a TV that can run it.
Yeah, I want it to not suck. That's pretty much my hopes.
If they actually have a Luma Room and it's just an add-on that you attach to the back of your TV, that would be the best way to do it.
Well, it's a projection system is what it is, and I think they're talking about having like a wireless projector or something like that. But the whole thing is like it harks back to the whole Nintendo thing. Gimmick technology is just such a dangerous gamble.
Gimmicks are gimmicky.
yeah, I want it to work. You know what I mean? Like, even in the tech demos they've shown so far, and I know it's still early in production, and even the demos are still impressive considering, but it's just like so hard to tell what's going on half the time on the walls when you're doing like the expanded scope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Xbox go big. Yeah, no, I think it might make me sick using it because it's like your whole fucking wall's moving.
Yeah, but projections
like,
are difficult to do because of the surface you're projecting it on. Like,
exactly,
you either have to come with a screen, or you have to have that.
Well, and it has a laser scanner, I think, too, that scans the
room. It scans the room, yeah. But I mean, even then,
you just
like,
have to play
I thought it
pitch
looked
blackness though, to be able to even see what you're doing.
It'll adjust. I really felt like the best thing that I saw from all the tech demos they've shown so far is they were showing some random first-person shooter, right? And they were just making it so all the projectiles, right, would continue off the screen.
Oh, and so there's more of an
neat.
expanded screen.
Yeah, it was such a subtler effect than doing the whole expanded room view, you know? Like, I thought it was so much better that way when it was so much than when it was like in your face. Here I am, big projector technology.
Imagine that with a side scroller.
Yeah, it would be absolutely fantastic. Where like not necessarily the whole level scrolls, but say like imagine Metroid, where like the walls above you and below you and to the side, you can see. Oh, look, there's like a chest in there because I've been in there, so I know it's there. You know what I mean?
Maybe some kind of a radar system where you only see like one thing or something on your peripherals.
Basically, what the DS does with the dual screens.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's good. It's more information is always better.
I would like to see it be practical as opposed to just a flashy money grab.
I'm just worried that if they do that, that they'll focus on it so much like they did with the Kinect, the games coming out for it will be all.
Well, and did you guys catch those leaked documents from Microsoft that came out a few months ago? They were about how pretty much the entire system is going to be Kinect based.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the Illumia Room's based off of, too. Half of the hardware that they use with it is through the Kinect.
I don't want to see a system that is... I don't want to see a lot of Kinect-based games, personally.
No, I don't. It's still just too gimmicky.
Yeah, I don't like it a whole lot.
I mean, granted, that's because I'm an old fogey who basically, grew up on the NES, and I like my D-pads, and I like my buttons, and I like my analog sticks.
That's why I don't play games on cell phones. I fucking bought a DS because I want buttons.
Yeah, it's like I don't like the idea of motion control. It's cool for a gimmick and makes for a decent party game here and there, but as actual standard gaming and my recreational time, I don't like it. Yeah, I mean it feels so unresponsive to me and just so
imprecise.
The technologies we're getting there, but it's really not there. And the whole idea of motion controls are great and all, but without force feedback, you're still just waving your arms in the air.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So what we need is a console with a full body suit.
Exactly.
The console's the helmet. It's just the suit's attached.
We can call it the Matrix. Wait.
Oh my god, dude! No, there's no way that's used. Original content, do not steal.
Copyrighted. It's copyrighted.
I came up with that. You guys heard me.
Happened here right now. Here first.
Right, guys. Well, I think this is probably going to be a really good place to probably close this podcast.
Seems good to me.
I'm down with that.
Right on. Well, this has been Jay Dubious and Donovan from NoClip and Josh of Missouri.
The whole thing.
We're signing out. Hopefully you tune in next time. We're going to be doing another podcast very shortly after E3, and after that we're going to have it on a much more concise release date. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Catch you later.